Hi friends, it's Julia. I'm here to share a layout that I created with my January 2017 Counterfeit Kit Challenge kit. The layout is a photo of my mom, and I started with a sketch from Sketches in Time, that's THYME, and it's number 257. And so I don't often catch my mom smiling, and so this photo is pretty special because she's smiling. I hate that she's got a cigarette wagon in her hand, but I mean, it is what it is. She's smoked for probably 60 of her 70 plus years, so she's always got a cigarette in her hand. Typically when she's outside, there's always a cigarette in her hand. Anyway, so I'm cutting my papers down. And I actually cut a little more off that blue pattern paper than what I originally intended, only because I forgot to cut the branding strip off of the, not chipboard, craft color paper. The other side of that is patterned, and so rather than use the patterned side of the craft paper, I just used the plain back side. And I'm inking my edges. I've done that recently on quite a few layouts with this kit only because the colors tend to blend together to some degree. Not so much with these two papers because one is primarily blue. The other is that yellow green to the green, very light green color that has a yellow tint to it. And so as I go through, when I first laid this sketch out, and laid all the pattern papers and everything down, the photo and everything. I did that only to save some time. So when I started videoing, I would have a better idea of what I wanted to use and how I wanted to lay it all down. And so I felt like that saved quite a bit of time here on the video. So I get everything inked, and now I'm going through and I'm going to glue everything down as far as the back side goes. And then I'm going to play around a little bit more with some of the embellishments that I pulled in. That piece of paper, the back side, with all those stripes on it, was my inspiration for this kit in pulling all of the colors that I did. And I pulled in this 6x6 piece of pattern paper with that floral, with that red that I pulled into the kit. And it's not a bright red. It's more of a, not rusty. It's more of a berry type red. And so I just left the whole thing there, and I'm layering it behind that photo that I've matted on one of the 4x6 sheets of paper from one of the stacks that I added into the kit. And that little piece that I'm cutting the edges off, I got as an RAK probably 2 years ago. The girl had sent a bunch of cut aparts to me, and that's one that I kept. I kept them all, and I've used them quite a bit. And I think that was the last piece right there to use up. And I've had it in my leftovers bowl on my desk for some time, waiting for the opportune moment to get it used up, and today was it. So you can see I'm using some more of that twine from my kit to thread through that wood veneer tag. I love those tags. I've used quite a few of them, but I still have quite a few left. It was a pretty large package, maybe like 10 or 12 of them in a package for a really good price, for like $3. And so I'm just layering those things up there. And I like how that looks. And more adhesive. I like adhesive. Not sure where I'm at. I'm thinking, oh, do I want to put the embellishments down now, or do I want to do some more paper layering? I opt for paper layering. I'm going to play around with these um, pieces of paper and move them around a bit. And you can see that reddish color paper with the diagonal stripe, those came from the 6x6 paper pad, and I just cut a sheet of that diagonal stripe down to 1-inch strips, and I'm going to use it to tuck under and make it look like a long strip, a longer than 6-inch strip going across the bottom. And that piece, the brown with the floral print on it, is just a leftover from one of the other layouts that I created with my kit, and I just had that piece left over, and I decided to use it here. And yes, I'm on an inking binge. I'm inking all the pattern papers on this layout. I did another layout after this one that I did not use the inks on, and to me, I don't like that layout as well because everything feels like it's kind of running into each other. You can't really differentiate where things are at, if that makes sense. The beginnings and endings of different things. So I'll lay that other piece down there, and that's, you know, a great way to hide the evidence of me piecing these papers together is that they're tucked underneath. They're not a focal piece. They're not like that green floral paper on the top or the blue paper. So this fleur-de-lis cutout here was actually part of a branding strip, I think, that I cut down and then inked up, and I used a bit or a piece of it years ago, and I've had that remaining piece in my stash. And so it's been in my leftovers bowl, and I'm so glad that I finally was able to use that piece. I throw things into my leftover bowl that I am pretty sure that I'm going to use at some point. Every so often, I'll go through and pull out some things that I don't think I'll use and get rid of them, give them to my grandkids, or put them in a baggie to give to one of the schools. But a lot of times, I only put stuff into those bowls that I know that I will use, and that's one of the things that I knew at some point in life I was planning to use, just when, that was the question. So these other pieces of paper, these tag shapes that I am inking and putting up at the top to ground my title, are also from my leftover bowl. One of these days I'll have to do a video just on my leftover bowl. I say that a lot and people are like, huh? But it's full of all kinds of random things. And that tray that I have there sitting to my right, I have a 5x7 bin on top of that. That plastic bin that I have the embellishments for this kit in, the smaller embellishments. But under that, I just filled that whole tray up with, I basically poured my leftover bowl onto my tray, is what I did. So my title was going to read, Home is That Smile. And I didn't like, I think because that was so very stark black that I didn't really like it on this layout. If it had been a more faded stamp, I think I might have liked it better, but yeah, no. So I left it. I keep playing with it, and I keep trying to get it to work, but it's just not going to. So the original layout had 3 pieces of banner across the top onto the photo in the background, and so I just mimicked it. That middle one with the pink actually has hearts on it, but they're upside down. That could be why, you know, I bought that chipboard sheet at Tuesday morning and not at, you know, like a real scrapbooking store. So I found some buttons that I decided I wanted to add in, And of course, me and buttons, I can't just put them down. I have to thread some twine through them. And so what I end up doing is the pieces that I cut off of the tag, because I cut that way down, I just decide to use those pieces to thread in through those buttons and get them glued down like that. And I don't put them up where that red one is sitting at now. I actually put them lower down by the flower to make it a little grouping of 3. The original sketch had something up there, and I thought about putting something there only to cover up my mom's cigarette, but I thought, what the heck, it is what it is, and I like them better down low. It just felt too bulky there in the middle to have that there. And I think the way that she's leaning in, I think it would have just spoiled the picture. There I go again. I'm trying. I want to use that sentiment there. And I guess I should have got my other letter stickers out and tried something with those, but I just didn't think about it when I was creating the layout. I guess it's true what they say, hindsight is 20/20. I'm sure I could have made the word that with some of my little tile alphas and then added that smile in. Because I was thinking of using the letter tiles to make home is, or not home, but is at the top. I'm trying to use those arrows, but they don't feel right. I move this one around a little bit, and I actually leave it laying on the layout for a little while, thinking that the pink matches that pink banner piece, but then it just doesn't feel right, and I end up pulling it off. So I'm going through my embellishments, thinking, what am I going to use? And I added quite a few sticker sheets in, and I've used quite a bit off all of them. That is a label sticker that I've added in, and I'm just tucking it in down here so I have some place to stamp my date. Still looking. And I'm okay with not using these sticker sheets completely up because I think I've used bits and pieces off of everything that I've added to my kit this month. And I love how that I'm using my stash. And I like all of those sticker sheets, so they will go back to my stash. I have no problems putting them back in. I've over the years, I've learned that I keep what I like because at some point I eventually will get it used up, like that 365 tag. You know, I got it 2 years ago. I used the other tags and such that I got at the same time. But I knew at some point I would use that as well as the fleur-de-lis piece down at the bottom, the sticker. Same with that. I did a big purge several years ago where I got rid of everything that I did not like or did not want, did not suit my style. But that was a long time in coming in that I had kept everything from the very beginning of my scrapbooking days until that point, and there were lots of things that I had bought to try, didn't like them, didn't need to keep them. Like I had bought a ton of different colored eyelets and shaped eyelets. Yeah, I used eyelets like 3 times in my entire scrapbooking career and decided right away I don't like those. And so I kept them for the longest time thinking at some point I'll like these. But every time I tried them, I really didn't. So I finally cleaned all of those out. And I've learned now by a very small quantity of something if it's brand new to the market and I've never used it before because I may not like it and may not want to do it. I do have some things that I could probably clean out now as far as mixed media goes because I've tried it. I bought small quantities of it. I tried it. I did not like it. You know, and I think too that I need to give myself a little more time with some of that mixed media stuff and just play with it a little bit more. But I'm not much of a messy kind of scrapbooker. I don't like making messes. So here I just did my journaling on one of those leftover border strips that I cut off a piece of paper, inked the edges, and then glued them down in that, not white space, but you know what I mean. Just adding some liquid glue to the back of the chipboard pieces because we all know how chipboard pieces do. And I think it's because they're so rigid and the adhesive, there's opportunity because they're so rigid for air to get behind there and dry that adhesive out, and then they stop sticking. So I always add the liquid adhesive behind those, and I added actually glue dots behind those chipboard buttons. Here I'm using some enamel dots, and I'm very proud of myself. I hadn't been using enamel dots in quite a while until I put some into this kit, and I feel like I have really gone to town using enamel dots. So do you guys make your own homemade scrapbooking kits? I know it's kind of all the rage right now. If you make them, I would love to see them, so leave me a link in the comments section. Otherwise, though, you can check out my monthly kits. I am trying to get all the ones that I've done in the last couple of years uploaded because I tend to hang on to them for a while until I use them up. So I have lots of kit videos to share this next year, and I will continue making kits from my stash. And I hope you guys stick around to watch that. So make sure you subscribe so that you can see the videos. And also, if you would hit the like button, I would greatly appreciate that. I love having new subscribers, and I appreciate all the subscribers that I do have. Thank you so much for subscribing. Anyway, here are the close-ups, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for sticking around, guys, and I'll see ya.